In last week's video, we went over new information regarding the Walt Disney Studios expansion and went to the skies to see all the progress that has happened in Frozen, the lake, and the promenade. It's currently unknown what will happen in Star Wars area, as we've been led to believe that it was cancelled, scrapped, changed, or delayed. In this video, we'll start by exploring what was originally planned, some ideas of what could replace it, and, in the end, some clues to when we might hear something about it. Could be sooner than you expect, so make sure to stay until the end of the video.
Oh boy!
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Main Street News. If you like what we do, make sure to check our Patreon if you'd like to support us even more. And join the Discord, links are in the description. In 2018, during the announcement of the huge expansion, it was said that a smaller Star Wars Galaxy's Edge would be built in the left side of the lake. That and this concept art was pretty much all the information given by Disney, but plans of what the land would look like were leaked on Twitter, so now we can clearly see what guests would find if it became a reality. Some fan renderings were made using these plans, which make it easier to understand, so let's use those as well. Coming from the lake, you would come across the entrance to the only ride in the land, which would be Rise of the Resistance. This is an incredible and very complex ride, possibly one of the most technologically advanced ones anywhere on the planet. Out of the two rides in the other Galaxy's Edges, Rise is by far the superior one. It's not only a ride, it's an experience, where you go through several incredible pre-shows, locations, and interactions before reaching the ride itself, which does live up to the incredible build-up. So basically this ride would be a perfect e-ticket addition to Walt Disney Studios Park, as it would bring so many new things into the park and resort overall. But the land isn't just a ride. While most of the footprint would in fact be used for Rise of the Resistance, guests would also be able to explore shops and dining offerings. While I'm not sure what will be present, here's what I believe it would look like. You enter the land and have the entrance to Rise of the Resistance on your left. Then, you would find Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities. This would act as the main shop of the land. As you can see, this is the huge Rise show building, and the attraction's exit would be right here. This area would have several mini stores selling all kinds of merchandising and food like the market in the original Galaxy's Edge, and would stretch all the way to the entrance of the land's restaurant, which I believe would be Docking Bay 7. To finish this tour of the land that never was, you would find a couple of pop-up shops. So, while it would still have several of the offerings from the real Galaxy's Edge, the Parisian version wouldn't have the same scale and immersion. Now, would this still be a good addition? Are you kidding? Of course it would, especially when talking about studios, which we all know needs these immersive worlds and experiences. It sounds amazing, but it's not looking like happening. And the reason can be traced back to the American parks, as those lands didn't receive the best impressions from guests. So, now what? That's the real question. If not a Galaxy's Edge, what will Disneyland Paris' second gate receive for its third land? Just so you know, I have no clue. What I do have is some ideas. Starting with Star Wars. Let me explain. One of the reasons Galaxy's Edge didn't work as well as previously projected was because of the very strict use of the timeline. Unlike Avengers Campus, where you can meet Iron Man and Moon Knight, even though they didn't really coexist in the MCU. Now, in Galaxy's Edge this doesn't happen, as that land is locked into the sequel's timeline. This translates into only using characters from that exact time, such as Rey, Chewbacca, and Kylo Ren. There's one easy way to make the land much more alive, and that would be to not use a strict timeline and build a world which guests are already familiar with. The easier way would be to build a similar land as the one planned, but with no timeline attached, and remake Rise of the Resistance with characters from the original trilogy, which fans prefer and even more people are familiar with. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, Leia, Han Solo. All of these would be fairly easy to integrate in the ride and replace the characters that are now present. The land itself could pretty much be the same, but with more characters and droids walking around. With this change, it would also attract a lot of international fans, since it would be exclusive to Disneyland Paris. If you want to push it even further, why not create a world people already know? Endor, where the original trilogy ends, would be a perfect location, and you just know that Disney would take advantage of those adorable Ewoks. Since there wouldn't be any timeline attached, other characters would be present in the land, such as the fan-favorite Mandalorian and his little friend Grogu. While Star Wars I believe would be incredible, it's also possible that Disney would prefer a different theme. There's several possibilities and here are some of the most likely, starting with Zootopia. Based around the 2016 movie, in this land, guests are invited into the city, filled with characters and recreations from the movie. I'm basing this on the land being built in Shanghai Disneyland, which will also include one attraction where you'll go on a high-speed chase on board a police car with Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde through the streets of this amazing city. This would be a very fun addition to the park and I could see it being built, though I don't think it's the most likely one. The third idea would be a small ToonTown with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This attraction originally opened in Disney World's Hollywood Studios and puts guests inside a Mickey short. It's a fantastic ride that uses impressive technology and trackless ride vehicles. The one downside to this idea is that there already is a trackless attraction in Walt Disney Studios, with Ratatouille, and it would be an incredible addition to the other park in Fantasyland. The better addition would be the one that can be found in Disneyland, as it has more of a studio setting with a queue showcasing the history of Mickey Mouse in cinema. This one I believe would better fit the park. At last, we have Avatar. Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel to the biggest movie ever, proved to be very successful, getting over $2.2 billion at the worldwide box office. One big factor into building a land based around this franchise lies within the box office numbers. France was the third biggest market in the world for the sequel movie, just behind the US and China, with Germany in fourth place. This means that there definitely is a big market and recognition by the guests of Disneyland Paris. The only Avatar-themed land can be found in Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom, and it's fair to say that it's quite incredible. With 2 attractions, restaurants, and shops, it will make an incredible addition to any Disney park around the world. With the limited space though, I would believe that only the main attraction, Flight of Passage, would make it to the Parisian park, as well as a lot of the incredible theming and facilities such as restaurants and shops. This would bring a new kind of ride into the resort. Out of these ideas, which one do you prefer? Now, the real question is, when will we hear anything new about this? While I don't know the answer, I bet that new information regarding the expansion and changes to Walt Disney Studios Park will arrive soon enough. Disney CEO Bob Iger and Parks President Josh D'Amaro will be making a visit to the resort during the studio's 21st anniversary, and while they might not announce anything right away, something is definitely being made this week when they visit. Let's not forget that there will also be the first D23 exclusive event in Paris taking place in April, and I will keep an eye out for that, as something might also be in the works. Later this year there will also be the Destination D23, but hopefully we will hear something new before that. Well, that's it for this video. Make sure to answer which idea you'd prefer to see arrive to the resort in the comments, and like and subscribe if you're interested. Thank you very much to our patrons, and now, as always, thank you for watching, and that's a wrap.